Every story has a prologue, and before Mega Man, there was another robotic child of light, one that expressed himself more, so much so that he left the good doctor and ventured on his own. His tale is full of struggles, but these shape him into the man he is today, the robot that was able to break away from his past. This is the basics on Proto Man. Long ago, while attending the Robot University of Technology, Thomas Light's research on robots with independent thought was approved. Delving into this theory, with late nights and surely a lot of coffee, at long last the fruits of his labors paid off. Dr. Light's humanoid prototype robot with independent thought was born. Proto Man. Much like Mega Man was known as Brock before he donned the blue helmet, Proto Man, in many sources, goes by his Japanese name at first, Blues. Blues was a proven success. He was what Light had envisioned for the future and even exceeded Light's expectations. His robot had a strong sense of personality, even a tune it was known to whistle. But he did have one problem. Blues had a major fault in the solar reactor that Light had installed on him. The issue was critical, and Light began making plans on correcting it. However, Blues' nigh human-like mind convinced himself that this repair would change him, erasing aspects of his personality. So in fear of preserving his identity, he fled. However, not having this repair would end up costing him. Though he wandered as best he could, his power source faded, and he eventually collapsed. Before the last of his power cells were used, someone would find him, and miraculously save him. It was fate that this person was none other than Light's rival, Albert W. Wily.
Yeah!
This discovery would enable the gears of fate to turn and empower Wily for all his evil deeds. He worked on Blues, tinkering with his systems, and through the Red Robot, he was able to understand Light's work. More so, he was now equipped to properly modify it. In order to save Blues, he removed Light's signature solar energy reactor and replaced it with his own type, a nuclear reactor. While this new reactor works, it does limit how long Blues can act at peak performance before needing to rest. While he was at it, Wily worked up a helmet for Blues, along with a pair of 6 shades to conceal his identity. Now with Blues repaired, Wily then took to modifying him, improving him. He equipped Blues with a buster of his own. And while similar to the Mega Buster, this one takes large amounts of energy to use, limiting Blues more while in combat. It does have the ability to charge, and eventually, it's able to utilize the variable weapon system. It also is unable to revert itself to a normal arm automatically, indicating Blues needs to manually change it, however that may be. Noticing that he wasn't built for combat, Wily compensated for his durability issue with a shield. With all these upgrades, Blues took a new name, Breakman. Having saved his life, Breakman now followed Wily, feeling grateful and perhaps indebted to him. After some failed attempts at world domination, Breakman would assist Wily and step into the fray against his younger brother, challenging Mega Man at various times throughout the game, though also helping him as seen in Gemini Man's stage. When all is said and done, and Wily is whomped yet again, the castle would crumble, and it would be Breakman himself who would save Mega Man while looking for Wily. During this save, Light would realize upon hearing the familiar tune that Breakman was actually his lost creation, the prototype human robot, the Proto Man. After these events, Proto Man began to go through a real moral dilemma. Should he return to Dr. Light, his creator, or remain with the one who saved his life? He fought with himself and eventually overcame his struggle, choosing to do what he believed was morally correct. During the events of Mega Man 4, Wily had stooped to new lows by kidnapping Kalinka Cossack, another scientist's daughter, and forcing him to act in Wily's place. Proto Man turned hero and freed the girl, returning her to her father, Dr. Cossack, and exposed Wily, crumbling his plans. This act of betrayal would not go without recourse, as soon after Wily specifically targeted Proto Man in Mega Man 5, where he framed him as taking over the city and abducted Dr. Light. Man, Wily's really going off the deep end here with the kidnapping, huh? Though Mega Man fought hard against the robots under the fake Proto Man's lead, he met his match and had to be saved by his real red older brother. Clearing his name, Proto Man exposed the fake and left Wily for Mega Man to deal with. I assume he just wanted to get to making this castle his own. It's pretty rad for a Wily built castle. This retaliation from Wily was the last big moment Proto Man would have for a while. He lay low throughout the following games, simply offering Rock advice or tools, though he is a secret boss in Mega Man 7. Proto Man's next significant role would be in Mega Man and Bass, the side game sequel to Mega Man 8. When the game's big bad started a robot war, Proto Man was the first on the scene to stop his plans. Pretty interesting how fast Proto Man is to act when Wily isn't the obvious culprit, signaling he may have conflicted indebted feelings towards Wily for saving his life. Cause you know Proto Man saw right through that Mr. X. And though he was first to act, he was also first to fall, as Proto Man really stepped in over his head with this fight. He laid low throughout the game till the end, where he, kinda, got his revenge on King by unleashing all his power in one mighty blast, the Big Bang Strike. This opened the door for Bass or Mega Man to finish the fight as Proto Man fainted due to his power issue. He would collect himself though, and break back in after all the fights, and destroy Wily's next big project. His last big role would be that during the Robo Enza outbreak, where he would fight alongside Mega Man against the rampaging robots, eventually confronting Wily and taking the old coot out himself for the first time, potentially showing he no longer feels that he owes Wily anything further. While that covers the gist of Proto Man in the main games, he's appeared in other side titles playing the same role, a mentor to Mega Man, and at times helping him out. He provided support during Super Adventure Rockman, he raced hard with his cool shield car in Battle and Chase, chased Wily, rescued Roll, and recovered the parts in the 2 arcade games. Pretty much anymore, if there's a Mega Man Classic game, he's to be somewhere, except 11 apparently. No matter the case, Proto Man is there looking out for his little brother. He helps Bass out just as much, possibly seeing aspects of himself in Bass and trying to show the younger robot a better path. One has to wonder if he relates to Bass due to his past. The same cannot be said for the Joe robots. Our red guy here holds a grudge against them, as they are mass production copies of him.
Yo, Proto Me! That madman. Even worse than those Joe robots, to think he'd make something like this. Don't lump me in with that crowd. I'm a perfect replica of you, after all.
Nevertheless, he tends to watch the heroes' backs, even though he doesn't always stick around and share in the limelight himself. You'll know he's around when you hear a familiar tune, a whistle to announce his arrival, and his yellow scarf blowing in the wind. Much like Mega Man, Proto Man shows up in most other media. In the manga's Mega Mix and Giga Mix, the story takes a lot of liberties and goes off on its own to either explain situations or just have fun with the story. But here, Proto Man is made much more in the same way, though his reactor flaw was due to a failsafe Dr. Light had put in him to prevent him from breaking the rules of robotics. Once more he flees, and once more Wily is the one who saves him. This time though, Wily installs an alien artifact to test a theory, a hyper-energy crystal, something that would later be used when making Gamma, and as a means to combat the final big bads. He appears as Brakeman before his brother, and the two, as you might expect, clash. In the end though, they work together to defeat the almighty Gamma, and as Proto Man returns to Wily to inform him that he, Wily, has failed, Gamma lost, and its energy crystals were gone. Enraged, Wily sicks his robots on Proto Man, and although we don't see the outcome of this battle, it's clear Proto Man survives given his next appearance. While he appears to help Mega Man in other stories, nothing comes close to his role during the Star Droids arc. The stage is set as Blues is struggling to keep himself awake. He's worn, his power source is failing, and he's just trying to get by. In this time frame, he and Tango the Cat have grown close, something we've seen later in Mega Man 10. Kinda. Tango's in his shop. After being saved by Tango, having delivered an e-tank and carrying him to safety after an attack, Proto Man finally steals his resolve and takes to fight on his own terms, leaving his scarf with Tango. The Star Droids are nigh unstoppable, as they've taken down just about every other robot there was. Yet Proto Man not only charges into them, but holds his own against them long enough for the others to be repaired. Quite a feat for a dying robot. He ends up fighting alongside Shadow Man, and even finishes off Mars in the most metal way possible, jamming his buster into the baddie's head cannon, blocking his shot and then blasting his own. The explosion though did seem to be a bit too much, as we see Proto Man's final moments of him realizing he fought to protect, for justice and the light. The Archie comics also showed a lot of love to Proto Man, devoting several comics to his origin story, as Blues was the basis for a military-type combat robot. The story wanted to show the relation the two had, as father and son, showing Blues coming up with his signature whistle, and him seeing his famous scarf in a shop window, where the good doctor would then purchase it. The comic would go deep into Blues' struggles, how he left home, had his own issues in the real world, and when he chose to come back home he saw rock and roll had been made. He had been replaced. So once more he ran off, only to succumb near the Landfront ruins, where Wily would find him in between the Mega Man 2 and 3 stories. While the story would remain much of the same way of the games, Blues taking up the identity of Breakman, breaking all the robots he needed to under Wily's orders. His story was actually more interesting outside of his combat panels. An original character for the comic, Quake Woman, also known as Tempo, was essentially his foil. His great fear of light removing his identity was a reality that she had lived through. While Blues remained insecure about this uncertainty, Tempo was able to validate his fears, accept that part of him, and show him the path towards forgiveness that she'd navigated with her own creator. She helps him get through his emotional troubles and pushes him to abandon what he's been doing, to return home to light. Before he chooses to do that though, he needs to right some wrongs. That being Wily, who forced him to kidnap Cossac's daughter Kalinka to set the stage for Mega Man 4. And unfortunately, that's where the comic ended. We can't talk about Proto Man and not bring up the age-old classic Ruby Spears cartoon. This American cartoon took its own take on him, making him a full-fledged villain, working for Wily without any internal conflict. He's snarky, cocky, and brings the show to life as he's always making fun of someone.
Robo-Commandos spread the rest of the virus with their helicopters. Whatever turns you on, Wily.
His backstory was also altered considerably. In this universe, both Light and Wily made a child robot that acted out upon activation. When Light insisted it was due to parts Wily contributed and nothing else, Wily in a fit of anger stole the young bot and repurposed him into Proto Man. From then on, he would stand against Mega Man as often as he could, showing that he had no morals so long as he could win, typically putting up more of a fight than most of Wily's other bots. I mean, he shot at President Lincoln.
Missed me again, number one, son.
But I won't miss this time.
Oh no! He's gonna blast President Lincoln!
I knew you'd risk yourself for Mr. Lincoln.
If nothing else, Proto Man was really the star of the show. Proto Man also appeared in Battle Network as a major character. With how much more narrative there is in that series, and how integral he is to the plot, that version of the Red Boy will be getting his own video. And, well, here we are at the end. He's a fan favorite. He's always around. And we can only hope to see him again in the future. What are your thoughts on Proto Man? Do you prefer his name as Breakman? Let me know below. Until next time, rock on!